Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cool Table Podcast. I am Beth. Say hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Love Amy. I love that she says that every time. It's so adorable. Welcome to this episode 2 of season 5 of the Cool Table. It is the mid-January, pre-end of the world inauguration day. It has not yet happened, and we're just basking in the slight amount of normalcy that we still have, because coming Monday, it's gone, right? It's totally gone.
What happens on Monday?
Doesn't he get inaugurated on Monday?
No, I'm practicing my disassociation. I'm severing myself.
Oh, good job.
I'm on Monday. I'm going full innie.
I wish we could. I wish I didn't have an outie come Monday. I wish I only existed in my home.
I think you can do that. I think you just turn off everything. Like the Australian Open's happening right now. So maybe on Monday, I will only ingest Australian Open content. I'll only watch the tennis channel.
I'll tell you what we're going to do on Monday. Here's what we're going to do on Monday, and you all can join us for this. We are going to have a live hangout Monday night. How about that? Let's all get together. We can do like old school hangout lander in the water weeds, a hangout of witches, all that stuff we used to do. That's normal. And at the early years of the Cool Table, we're going to do a full hangout, have our buddies, and you guys can join us Monday night. Let's say 8 Eastern, Monday night.
Yeah, so Heidi's, because she's west. Well, Heidi and Jamie are West Coast and they want to join us. So yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That way our West Coast buddies can be there. They'll be there at, what it'll be, 5 o'clock for them? Yeah.
I believe that's called Pacific time. I did love it when I moved to Chicago right after college, because I moved to Central Time, and it was lovely to be able to watch ER at like 9 p.m.
I love Central Time. I mean, I don't know anything else, but I've always enjoyed it. I like it. I think it's the best of the time zones.
Yes.
The way life is set up. I mean, like when I would watch things and I'd be like, oh, the 11 o'clock news. I'm like, the 11 o'clock news? The news comes on at 10, bitch. What are you talking about? Who's staying up till 11 to watch the news?
Especially if I get older and I want to eat dinner at like 4:30. The thought of like, let's say that if life was pre-streaming and like regular TV, like I'm going to have to stay up until 8 p.m. to watch Friends. I'm going to watch must-see TV, and I'm not going to be done till 11.
Yes. Think about how long that is. Such a long time. I go to bed at 8:30.
Is that everyone was an asshole in the 90s and the 80s? Because
maybe
all of
they
our
were just
parents
tired.
were tired.
Yeah, fucking tired, because you didn't have any control. And my mom was like always in bed with a migraine, and I'm pretty sure it's just because she had to stay up really late to see Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman.
And she was driving in her car with leaded gas.
It's really affecting her now in her 70s. My mom just turned 70.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. And then yesterday was my dad's 71st.
Were you raised by 2 Capricorns?
Yes.
Oh, Beth.
A Capricorn smack in the middle of 2 Capricorns.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the Capricorn energy.
The thing is, my parents could not be more different. They are diametrically opposed in personality. Like if I were to give them an enneagram number, my dad is a fun 9 with a little bit of an 8 wing. He does not like confrontation. He loves a nap. He's very much a peacekeeper. He's a middle child. I'm also a middle child. And I very much identify with my dad. I am an 8 with a good 9 wing. Like I also like things to be kept peaceful, everybody to be happy, but I am hardcore 8.
I think that was the first cross stitch I ever made for you.
It is, and I have it above my desk. I have it above my desk. I love it. My mom is an unhealthy 6. And
what is a 6? I'm a 3. I don't know what a 6 is.
This is going to sound so mean, but 6s are the worst. And if you know anybody with like strong anxiety, like they cannot live without being anxious about everything, that's a 6. 6 is doomsday. 6s are constantly like worst case scenario. They're catastrophizing. They're really hard to be around. Yeah. I don't like a 6.
Yeah. Me and 6s don't gel.
And I'm not sure what a healthy 6 looks like. I don't think I've ever met one. But that's all I really know about them is that they're the anxious babes in the world. And my mom is unhealthy 6. So, I mean, her and my dad could not be more different. So I'm not really sure how they're both Capricorns.
There was something that popped up on Blue Sky, which means that it was true, looking at who has the longest life expectancy. And it is typically people that were born in the fall. So Scorpios and Sagittarius.
Wow.
So I sent a text to my parents thanking them for doing it around Valentine's Day. So I could make sure that I live to at least 96, because that's the number that I want to get to.
Okay. All right. That's my baby. My baby, I know exactly when she was conceived.
Hey,
So I know exactly when both of my kids were conceived, which is wild, isn't it?
was
Like
it
I
when
can
you were
remember
having
it.
sex with Ryan?
It is, yes. But I mean, like, we do that a lot. So, but the specifics are there.
Yeah, my daughter was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, ish, March 8th, 2008.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. An afternooner.
Well, that was when we had the appointment.
Right. Ella was my oldest, was not planned. I had gone off birth control for like medical reasons and I had been off of it a month and it was Ryan's birthday. And
Uh-huh.
we were having sex in the living room, which is my preferred place. I like a couch and we just didn't feel like going to get a condom, There you go.
Hey,
Ella.
why do you like a couch? Because it's more snug, like there's not a lot of, or
I
positioning?
really like being on top and I
Okay.
like having my boobs at accessibility level while
Okay.
I'm while I'm on top.
Gotcha.
That's
Gotcha.
that. And I even like that I did like my knees are downward in a couch.
Uh-huh.
It just it's a good angle for me. So
Yep.
couch sex is my fave.
Sitting up, arms wrapped around each other,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
titties in face.
Yes. And then like pubic bone, like right in the right spot.
Yep.
It's a really good position. It's my favorite. And we don't get to do it that often because we don't have a couch in our bedroom. It's
And you get a love
special
seat.
sex. We do need I can't put I have a sitting room in my bedroom. I need to put a couch in there. We have a chair in there, but we broke it.
I have a chair because I have like a little sitting room area in my bedroom too. But I would have to be, it's a good thing that Jill is skinny because if we were, there's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of movement.
See,
But
Ryan's very wide.
I don't know what sex is like right now because if you have been listening to any of our past recent podcasts, I'm perpetually sick. So I have pneumonia and RSV right now. And Gilles abandoned me.
I'm sure he did. I'd be out of
He
there
has
too.
he has a 3-family in Providence with an apartment for himself that he goes to because it's very sweet. He likes to give Ruby space sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been at his apartment for over a week. He's like, peace
Aw.
out.
I wish I could get away from Ryan when he's sick. I just
Oh.
come up to the guest bedroom, but he still lives here.
Went to urgent care for a chest x-ray, and it was actually kind of nice because they have the little screen that tells you like where you are, so there's no like sense of like, have they forgotten about me? You kind of
Oh,
see
like
how
the
many people
DMV.
are. Yes.
Nice.
And so I took my book club book with me, Chain Gang All Stars. I'm loving it.
I can't wait to read that one. I don't know why I
Ripping
haven't yet.
through it.
How long do you
It
think it's going to be
sucks.
that you're feeling bad?
Sorry, I just had to swallow a big loogie. It could take up to like 3 weeks. I mean, I probably a little bit faster for me because they did put me on prednisone,
Mm-hmm.
which like you've not lived until you've taken your Vyvanse and then chased it with prednisone. You're just like, I can do anything.
Emerson used to be on Vyvanse, and occasionally I would get a wild hair and be like, give me one of those. See what I can get done today. Can you see Lestat?
I do.
Okay, I just want to make sure. He's so cute. Love him so much. And I've been looking for the perfect antique frame to put him in because he's in a shitty black plastic one, which AMC, you have a great little merch thing going on with your shows. Lestat would never approve of a black plastic frame. Why did you do this to him? Sell this in antique gold French revival frames, please. That's crazy. Anyway.
Well, like behind me, my friend did this like really cool thing with the Polaroids, and I made it was a black plastic frame from Walmart, and I spray painted it gold. So maybe go to Walmart and just get like a shitty black one because they have super decorative, ugly ass shit there. But once you put something in a gold leaf, it elevates it.
It does.
I had a meeting last week and I'm on the Rhode Island District 13 Democratic Committee. Anyway, we met at the senior center for us to elect new officers. I am now president because no one else will do it. And on the free take a book was Into the Woods.
Oh.
Is that what it's called? Into the Wilderness. The Sarah Donati book.
I thought you were talking about
No, I don't like Stephen Sondheim. No.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about like a novelization of Into the Woods.
No, Into the Wilderness. And it was a large print. And I looked at the guy who had set up the meeting who works at the senior center. And I was like, can I take that book? And he was like, yeah.
That's the one where Jamie Fraser is in it.
Yes, and it's the children of the son of Last of the Mohicans, Hawkeye. It's like
Oh, it
his
is?
kid. Oh yeah.
That is wild. How does this woman publish fan fiction for non open whatever properties?
I don't
How does
know,
that
but
happen?
she got permission from DG because back
I
in the
know
day she
that.
was yeah. Is Last of the Mohicans not considered public whatever domain?
Public domain? It doesn't
I
seem like
mean,
it could be.
it's like his son is the hero of the book. It's a very good, sexy book.
I have another book by her that a publisher sent me. I think it's like more recent. It's on my shelf like to read because it looks
Hmm.
like it's probably good. But I've never read Into the Wilderness because I was like, this bitch shouldn't have been allowed to publish this. That's how I feel
Yeah,
about it. I
it
was
was
like, no.
and maybe when I first read it, it was kind of scratching like an Outlander itch that
Oh, for
I
sure.
needed. But it had a very good like sexy grotto scene. Plus, I mean, I was just picturing Daniel Day-Lewis the entire time, which really helped. So
90s
you
Daniel Day
stay
Lewis could get
alive
it.
no matter what occurs. I will find you.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
So hot.
I need some deep yearning. I need a dude that's been in love for a long time and overcoming
Oh,
some real deep obstacles and
and that
yearning for someone
soundtrack,
else. Did you
I've already
reread
read
it?
it. No,
Okay,
it's more like a souvenir, kind of like what
sure.
you did. But yeah, so I've been sick and my hips hurt because I haven't been really moving on a man or just walking around the block. So I finished Shogun. Amazing, but big mistake. When you were dealing with pneumonia and RSV and snot is not your friend, do not watch Shogun.
Okay.
Did you finish it?
I haven't watched it at all.
Oh.
We had to catch up on Severance. So
Speaking
I,
of yearning
okay,
and a love story, it wrecked me.
okay.
I had to double Benadryl myself to like stop the histamine, whatever was happening, so I could go to sleep.
Yay.
But
I really want that. I need that right now.
like I woke up sad and I was like, oh, yeah. It gutted me, but it was so good. And then I finished Silo. Well, Silo,
Hmm.
the finale was last night. You have not
Hmm.
watched it yet, but I did.
I only have the finale left. We're going to watch
Yep.
that later, probably tomorrow.
I caught up on Salt Lake City, Real Housewives,
Okay.
which you don't
Okay.
watch, but genius, the best season ever. And then I watched the last 2 episodes of Severance before the new season started. And then I was still a little bit confused. So I went back to Vulture and then read all the recaps so I would know exactly what was happening. But I
Mm.
was kind of like, this week is brought to me with a letter S because it's like
Oh,
Shogun, Salt
yeah.
Lake City, Silo, Severance.
That is a lot. I was even thinking that just with
Yeah.
Silo and Severance. I was like, this is obnoxious, actually.
Well, the
Um,
audacity though of Apple Plus, like it's so hard to find like good stuff. I feel like that's really drawing me in, and then to release 2 on the same day.
Meredith even said in our group chat, like the marketing of both of those at the same time, like being able to do the finale of Silo and the opener of Severance at the same time, like gave them just, I'm
Uh-huh.
sure, just like a huge boost. And Shrinking is on there too. And they keep telling me to watch Shrinking. And I'm like, there's another S show on this
Slow
platform,
Horses.
Slow Horses. And then, of course, we just finished Bad Sisters. Apple Plus is just killing it versus like I hadn't watched it in such a
Uh-huh.
long time. It's wild. Let's talk about Severance.
Okay, speaking of S words, spoilers. Yes. So if you don't want to hear spoilers,
Yeah, spoilers for Severance season 2, episode 1, which is all that has aired thus far. But let's talk about like our first experience of Severance because I am aware that it came out in like 2022 because I
uh-huh.
was at Comic-Con and they had a really great pop-up where you could walk through Lumen and you got your own little badge. You got all this Lumen swag. Like you got like a coats that Bert comes down
Uh-huh.
from OND. Like they had all of that. So I was aware of it, but I didn't watch it. We did not start watching it until like 10 days ago. And we sailed through season 1. I love like a build on it mystery after mystery. Like there's plenty for us to talk about when it's
Yeah.
over kind of show. And that's what that gave us.
We watched it when it first aired. I'm pretty sure we did it kind of like week to week as it came out. I watched it because if you give me anything that's visually mid-century modern, I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm kind of also obsessed with Saarinen, who designed the Bell Labs building where it's set. He did like the TWA
Okay.
terminal at JFK,
Right.
where I stayed at the hotel. If you have a chance to do that, I cannot recommend it enough. But yeah, so we watched it just for the office. Anything set in an office, because
Mm-hmm.
I worked in like large enterprise before and just that whole vibe. But the world
What e
building and the
what else is
moodiness.
like that, though? Something else is like that. Something oh, Loki.
Silo. Oh, yes. Loki,
Yeah.
very much. The
Hmm.
mid-century, the whole aesthetic of everything, the like
It's
that
the future, but it's the
IBM.
past.
Yes.
All of their cars look like they're from 1982, but clearly that's not
Mm-hmm.
the case. They have cell phones.
Mrs. Coble drives like a Dodge Omni.
Everything is brand new,
Yep.
but in a different era.
Yeah.
Do they have iPhones or are they all just talking on
On
flip
flip
phones?
phones?
I feel like I've seen Milchick, the little walkie-talkie that he holds, also has like an iPhone screen on it.
I don't
Yeah.
remember. Well, like even just Milchick's whole aesthetic. In the first season, he's the middle manager. He has
Mm-hmm.
the white button down, but like the 3/4, the short sleeve
Mm-hmm.
shirt. And
Mm-hmm.
then now that he's the manager, he's
Mm-hmm.
got the jacket on, the full
With a
suit.
turtleneck. With a turtleneck. I
That
almost
man
wore
is
my navy
good
turtleneck.
looking.
Yeah. I was gonna wear my navy turtleneck in honor of
Yeah.
like Milchick and Helly. I felt like it's a very Helly shirt. Maybe next
Mm-hmm.
time. Like when we see in the finale of season 1, Helly go to this gala, that's very Apple aesthetic. That's very Silicon Valley. All
Mm-hmm.
of those, those big, hi, I'm Helly, like all of that big black and white
Yep.
photo.
The
That's very like
Helvetica.
2010s. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, I love that it's just like a mix. The design is a full mix of like, you cannot place this in time on purpose.
It has a whole like Mormon culty vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
Kier of it all.
Yeah. So the city is called Kier. It
Yep.
looks to me like they all live in different era planned neighborhoods. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
notice this until we watched the finale again. But like, Mark lives in what looks like a 2010s kind of
Mm-hmm.
project that a company would build in the mountains, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we just don't understand about Lumen.
Mm-hmm.
What theories have you read, or what do you think is going on in general, overarching with Lumen?
Oh gosh. I don't even think I've thought that deep about it besides just like cult nefariousness.
Yeah, Ryan sent me a TikTok about this guy being like, it's all about water. They're controlling water. Like, if you watch the show and like see how many times like there'll be glasses of water everywhere, or it really focuses on then like Helly turning on a faucet or something. And then of course the Lumen logo is a drop of water. They have the big water tower.
Mm-hmm.
There's the big lake in front, and I think that guy's like theory was that they're trying to take over all the water, and like Dylan's idea that they're colonizing the sea and that they're refining data from the seafloor is actually very close to the reality. I think they already have done that. I feel like Lumen has already gotten a global Nestle
Mm-hmm.
Corp kind of evil takeover of the water. And what they're mining now is people's attention and people's brains.
Well, that is very much a theory about Silo, which I know you haven't watched the finale, and this doesn't impact that at all. That
Mm-hmm.
it's just really busy work. That what they're doing at the silo is it's controlled by something overarching, evil, and nefarious, and they're just kind of keeping humans. They can use you as their experiments, their playthings, but like I don't think that they're actually mining anything at Severance. I think it's more about the experiment, about the severing, not so much the
Yeah.
work. That's just busy work.
I don't think it's busy work. I think it is psychological, because
Yes,
clearly
yeah,
they can see their faces from the monitor. And because they're finding the scary numbers or the numbers that make them feel certain ways,
yes,
they're mining people's reaction the same way that our
yes,
Face ID and all of that stuff that we use in technology is, mining our reactions to things. And
yes.
I
But
think
they're not
that is what
actually
they're doing.
refining any actual data. It's not like they're
I don't know.
removing numbers out of a database or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But they
But I love this
clearly
theory
are.
about the water because I think
Yeah.
last week when I was like, if you can invest in anything, invest in companies that do data center cooling. And that's all
Yeah.
about water.
I've been thinking about that nonstop. especially because Memphis is getting a stupid AI bonkers thing from Musk or whatever soon. But anyway, it's going to ruin our fucking aquifer. Yeah, I think like the picture of Keir overlooking his water, it's like those are the Great Lakes. And like that's like one of the big, you know, paintings or whatever. And so I just feel like that's already happened. I feel like the water is indicative of what they're mining now, which is people's time, attention, and brains. And they've already taken the other natural resource that they all need to live. So they might as well find the final
Yes.
frontier, which is to colonize our minds.
Yes. And from when meeting Mark's new colleagues, they're from other places around the world.
Yeah.
Some of them in a little bit more sophisticated with animatronics and some of them with just brooms.
That is so bizarre. Like I was so happy to see like Bob Balaban, but I was like, what is happening? Like it added a layer of lore that I'm not 100% sure I needed right now. I like that they're layering the questions, but do I need to know that there's like a primitive Severance floor and they give out whittled wood perks instead of stuff made out of plastic? I don't know that I needed that right now.
Well, yeah. So when Mark comes back, he's told by Milchick's like, it's been a while, and he's like 5 months. So do we believe that 5 months? And if he's been away for 5 months, which for his innie, it's just like yesterday. But if he was really away for 5 months, what were their outies doing at the time? Did they give them an excuse of like, oh, we're redeveloping something downstairs, we'll use you in a little bit? But then also he did tell his sister, he did talk to her, he had an honest conversation with her.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening kind of on that outside, which we didn't get any outside stuff.
No. And I do know that we're going to get all of that. Like all of the Miss Coble stuff from this season will be outside because she's not on the Severance floor anymore. And she's definitely in it. And I read an interview with the showrunner and was basically like, we're focusing a little bit more and playing with time so that that's why the innies they literally in this first episode of season 2 coming up into the elevator after the last moment of season 1. Like that was the last thing that happened to them. It doesn't matter how much time has passed on the outside.
And when Mark would come down, like they kind of kept showing like, it was like a little montage of him going up and down, up and down. The time when he came down was never like 8 o'clock or 9 a.m. It was always like 3:15.
Yeah.
It was all kind of like he would leave kind of like 5:10. But I would notice the clock. Yeah.
Okay. I think that we're definitely getting plenty of outside stuff. I think we're going to get an episode that like follows Dylan for the most part outside. And, you know, we'll get an episode where they show us more about what's happening to Jenna lower in the lower basement, the training floor, or whatever it is. So we're going to get all of that. It's going to be in like, I think probably like little chunks instead of all mixed together. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that they're not lying to them about the outside necessarily. About it being like a thing where the 4 of them became the face of like this thing, because there's no way that specifically Mark on the outside is not going to be aware of what is going on because he's going to have to fight with Miss Cobell.
Well, his sister is immediately, as soon as he wakes up, his sister will tell him what he just said. The whole issue with Miss Cobell and taking the baby, you know, that stuff isn't going away.
So he's going to know immediately. I think that Helly's stuff is super public. There's no way that's not going to be public.
Well, I believe I believe Helly is Helena now. I don't believe it's Helly downstairs.
Oh, no, I do.
I think that the big tell was her whole stiffness, but then when she didn't really have that muscle memory of turning on the computer at the end, she's reaching around for it. I think that she is downstairs as Helena. I don't think she's Helly.
But would Helena know about Helly and Mark having any kind of like closeness?
Yes, because they had the video of it. Remember when they did the little montage narrated by Keanu Reeves?
Great choice, by the way.
Yeah. They show the kiss. And that's when
that's right.
Dylan says, "What the shit?"
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, she did have the lie kind of banked and ready to go. Like, it didn't surprise me that she wouldn't be honest about who she really was. But it didn't occur to me that she might be Helena.
But it was such a gut punch because Mark had just been so honest. And then Helly, I could even understand if she were Helly. Still Helly, and the shame and the embarrassment of like, hey guys, I'm actually Helena. I'm the one who's fucking doing all this to you guys. Like the fear, the hatred that she would, you know, whatever, like what that would do.
Yeah.
can kind of understand her not being honest. I do like that
Irv.
Irv, he's the one who clocked it when he was like a night gardener. Cause she said, I'm back in this empty apartment. I'm wearing a Save the Gorillas shirt or whatever. And I go outside and I tell the night gardener or the gardener,
Mhm.
he's like, a night gardener?
Yeah, and I mean, that made it feel like to me like it was Helly coming up with a lie, because if it was Helena, it wouldn't have been so dumb. Or is it, you think it might be Helena
Mm-hmm.
because she doesn't know what blue collar people do, and so she's making something up that just feels right to her? I don't know.
And she thinks that cops actually help people.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm worried about like what we're going to see of Irv, because Christopher Walken is still in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just so nervous for him on the outside.
Well, so Bert knows, like, think about where they were when they left. He's banging on the door. Bert, Bert,
Yeah.
Bert.
Yeah.
So Bert knows that Irv has come, whether Bert is an outie and any, all of that stuff. But
Well, so because he switches off before
yes,
Bert
but
opens the
he's
door,
banging on the
he's
door.
he's outie Irv,
Yes.
and the map and everything lets you know that outie Irv knows who Bert is, but he doesn't know who Bert
Mm-hmm.
is to any Irv.
Yes.
So he doesn't know why he's there. So that's an interesting
Mm-hmm.
dynamic. It's fun. It's going to be fun to see how that. I mean, maybe he's already been there. Maybe they already know one another. Maybe they
Yeah.
have history. Like maybe he's, because I mean, why would he have this map with everybody's first and
Yeah.
last names? And
And Irv has more of like a similar experience to what Gemma has had because Irv knows that hallway that Gemma walks
yes,
down, that thing with time. Because
mm-hmm,
in the first season, when she says to Mark, I've only been alive for 107 hours. So it's like
mm-hmm.
she's only awake when she is doing her therapy work with those people.
I think she's a different person, maybe even her real self
Mm-hmm.
on that floor. But Irving can't be in the same position that Gemma is because he has an Audi. Like
Yeah.
I think that he knows that floor. So Ryan thinks that Irving has been several different variations of himself on the inside, and that they
Okay.
go back down to that floor to get like reintegrated or,
Oh.
unsevered, and they put a different chip in because when she gets the chip out of Petey's head,
Mm-hmm.
she gives it to Milchek and said, "This is Petey." So this chip doesn't just sever their brain in half. The chip is the memory of
Yep.
who is their any self. Like I think and it has all of their data, meaning it's a chip that is literally their any self.
Mm-hmm.
So that floor, did she call it the retraining floor?
I
Did
don't
they send
remember.
Gemma to?
Yeah.
That floor is where they can change out your chip and put another version of your any in there.
Yes.
Um,
Which is
and
technology today. I mean, every new version of
mhm,
something from
mhm,
Windows XP to Vista to 10, 11. Ellie's father, when she sees him in the bathroom and he's like, remember when I showed you the first chip? So there was always like the
mhm.
original, the 1.0,
Yeah,
and it looked
yeah.
different.
And he says something about it having like a green
Yeah.
and so like that makes me think of like the
It looked like her ear, like when he described it, looked like her earrings.
yeah, but like the picture of O&D, the O&D massacre or whatever that they have,
Mm-hmm.
like they have their green tags and their blue tags and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And like Irving and Bert are both really old. Like
Mm-hmm.
why would you sever in your retirement age? Like if
And
that's
Bob
what it was
Balaban
for.
brought that up. The other Mark W. Is that his name?
Yeah.
And he was like, I thought
Yeah.
that they would retire me, but this is a nice surprise.
Yeah. So I think that there's something definitely going on with the chips being like something that they wipe and put back in or, do whatever. But then
Yeah.
clearly there are people that they are holding there as slaves, which brings up the question of Miss Huang, who is like a 12-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
unsevered and
And
working this stressful corporate secretive job.
yes.
And so there's a whole level of like, are they investing in child labor?
Yeah. But also kind of like cults don't really have a morality. Was she basically donated by her parents?
Right. Yeah, of course. Like in Servants of Kier. But speaking of cults, like Miss Cobell's situation is one of the most interesting ones to me because she's
Mm-hmm.
clearly an indoctrinated from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
She's got this children's shrine, something that she has memorized, has the whole like Kier song to sing. and all of these like things
Was in
that
their
she made as a
private
young person.
school,
Yeah, it was in the school for
something,
them, and then
the medical
medical
thing, her mother
that
maybe.
it looked like a breathing apparatus.
Yes. The RSV girl in me was like, that's a nebulizer.
And that said Charlotte Cobell, not Harmony.
Right. And I think there's a year on there. So I think people online have been like that. They think it's like they saved her mother or something, that it could be her mom or a sister,
I think
maybe.
it's I think it's her, but it could be a baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole idea that there's like a cult of Kier, a cult of Egan, like her dad does not seem altogether there. Like he doesn't feel like a full person when he's talking to her, when he's looking at her.
Yes. Well, the whole sexualness of like when Dylan in the penultimate episode in season 1, when he is the data refiner of the quarter, he gets to have his waffle party. And then the waffle party then also includes erotic dancing, a whip, BDSM, potential orgy. There's a bed. That's when he kind of uses it to scoot to go turn on the Audis, the innies to the Audis. But like, what?
And those are the 4 humors or whatever
Yes.
that
But
are
they're suck your dick? Like,
yeah. But I mean, if you think about it, if you just because you're working 8 hours a day doesn't mean you don't have like the physical needs of a regular human. So they would also need sexual release
oh, yeah.
and not be able to get it. And so the waffle party is like the ultimate perk because they get to have this release. That's probably just like a regular part of how they keep them in line. Who knows? Maybe that's just Dylan's idea of what that should be. I don't know.
But it's so corporate and in the sense of perks of like, look at all these cool things that we give to you, which is very grounded in reality, just taken to like an extra level. Like the new vending machine, fruit leather, cut beans, salsa, Christmas mints.
How did you feel
Andy?
How did you feel about the egg party? I know how you feel about a deviled egg.
Disgusting. So when Dylan's like, the egg party slaps, I'm like, absolutely not.
Did you see the eggs that are like dyed? They were sitting up. They look like the color of beets.
Beets. Which to me, I hate beets. Like,
me too.
If you're like, if I die and then they're like, here's beets and here's some deviled eggs, I'd be like, well, this is hell.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, have some Diet Pepsi.
Helly even says in the beginning, like, this is hell, right? Like, I'm dead. This is hell. Like, she is fully aware that it is clearly the bad place.
Yes. But then, like, it's interesting, like, when talking about the chip, the severed whatever they're putting in your brain, it's not just pure data. They cannot totally erase your humanity, like you're questioning. Because Helly, who's Audi, is all in. And she even tells her, I'm a person you are not. Helly is still like that humanity still exists within her. It's almost like a substance kind of thing. You are one, not this, you are sharing it, but it's kind of.
Yeah. The chip allows you to have access to your intelligence, your motor function, your emotional centers. Clearly all of your bodily functions are the same. You just don't have access to your memories or your past, which inform your emotions and your motor function and all of that. So the science behind it, I'm not super interested in. Like I'd be fine if it was just a magic wand creating this thing, like that. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I'm
what
interested
sets this
in, like,
whole thing off is
when
Milchick in season 1 turns on the overtime protocol for Dylan, and Dylan's Annie sees his kid, and that greatly affects Annie Dylan. So Dylan isn't like, I don't give a shit. That's just someone else's kid. He is very affected by being a parent and being a father and seeing his child.
Especially because, like, Dylan, the Annie Dylan is very much a rewards based, and like Dylan is like, I'll take all the finger traps.
He's an Enneagram 3.
Yeah. I'm really interested in Dylan's story. Did you know that Dylan on the outside, we're going to see him on the outside with his wife, who is Merritt Weaver?
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm so excited. I love her. I haven't seen her forever.
Speaking of perks, when Irv was like, I'm your favorite perk, Like that was so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But
That
yeah,
was
like
sweet.
they're giving Dylan like that next level of perk. They're going to give him, well, they've
Family.
said, the family. But I love how Milchick doesn't even answer the question. He's like, is this a place, the family reunification center? And Milchick doesn't say yes. He goes, well, if the name is to be believed. And then when Milchick says it's only for Dylan because everyone else is single, this idea that like marriage is the only way to have family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then also knowing that Mark's wife is physically in the building with him.
Yeah, like Dylan will know that. The biggest thing in terms of like what they're going to have to do, and it's like why Helly, I think, tells Mark at the end, like, I'm willing to stay because we need to figure out what to do with this woman, despite the fact
Mm-hmm.
that, like, if you think she's any Helly, I have feelings for you. Like, this is
Yes.
clearly not okay that they told us this woman died on the outside, but she's here. We have to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest, I think, mystery. I mean, like, the goats are also mysterious, but I'm less interested in how they fit in than I am where, like, what the fuck is going on with Gemma?
Yeah.
How did they get this woman and make everybody think
Yeah.
she's dead when she's not?
And then like the psychological thing of like, well, you have to decide by the end of the day. And you
Yeah.
have to decide on your own if you're going to leave. And then that feels like that they are abandoning each other, because you don't really know what the other one is going to do.
And we got to see what it was like for Mark to not have them there. I mean, from the very beginning to be like, where is my team? Like, where are my friends? Effectively, they're dead if they're not there. So it is a way of killing this other persona that you have created. They don't have the option to like sever that person's life forever.
Right.
It's crazy.
And Helly in season 1 tried to commit suicide. She was always on the run, which is also why I think that it adds to, I think that's Helena, because I think Helly, even how she feels about Mark, if she was really Helly and hearing what he had just said, I think she'd be like, I'm fucking out of here.
Do you think that there has to be some level of Helena Egan believing that because Helly is not a person, she cannot really affect Helena's life? Because after she tried to kill herself, she still went back.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm a person, you are not.
So like there has to be some level of like, whatever she does cannot affect me, cannot affect my real life. Or she wouldn't get back in the elevator.
Right.
So, I mean, that is like a good argument for her really being Helena. But I also don't think Helena would like bother with that amount of like drudgery.
I think that Helena would go down as Helena so she can make sure that they're keeping everything. Now it's all on her. Look what could happen. You need to go downstairs. Who's a better spy? Who's a better person to get in their minds? Who's better to help us kind of understand what's going on?
I think the only real thing that like would keep her from being able to do that successfully would be knowing what they've said and done with one another, but she would just be able to see all of that.
They showed them that. We're hearing and listening to everything you said. They know that Irv smashed the deviled egg in the Kier Bible.
Yeah, they do.
Let's burn it all to the ground.
Like they know everything that happened in the storage closet, which is why they got rid of the storage closet.
Yep. And when they say, we're not watching you, they're lying. Because Koble even says in the first season, the way that you kind of keep a prison is you make the prisoner think that he's not in prison.
Yeah, make them think they're free. And you can see at the very end of the episode that like Gemma's and somehow like either she's in Mark's head or behind the screen or something.
Or that's another type, psychological warfare for them, like popping that up. That will keep him down there.
Yeah, we saw Cobell looking at them doing their numbers and stuff in their screens in the first season, and that's not a camera that they think is watching them.
No.
So yeah, they can for sure watch them without just the cameras just big on the wall or whatever.
Yeah. My favorite moment though is when Milchick is trying to get them just to change his home screen, because as someone who's had a title change, it took me 6 months to finally get IT to change it on our website. And so then it became this thing, like when I would be quoted in places, I would always have to make this edit of like, no, I'm a senior research manager or whatever. It's just kind of like those things about corporate life are just so true. And then the board is always listening.
Stuff. Yeah. Or just the idea that like he has to go directly to the board to get something that he wants because telling your management doesn't work.
When I was rewatching or going back through and reading the recaps, Petey in the first season said there's a department that never leaves. The testing floor, that's what it's called, the testing floor.
The testing. Yeah, not training. Yeah.
Yeah. And when she said the longest, Gemma said to Mark, the longest I've been awake is 8 hours, and her life is 107 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because in real time, in Audi time, she's been dead for over 2 years.
And did they kill her? Did they harvest her because they saw that she was in an accident? Was it just kind of like, ooh?
Yeah, are they able to keep a body alive if they sever its brain? And maybe
I,
that's why they think reintegration isn't possible, because they've been testing people who have died or something
yes.
instead of testing like people who voluntarily severed.
And what are they testing with him and Gemma to see if they have like that connection? Because he even
Mm-hmm.
makes that to help make that point to Helly. Because if any person likes Helly, and he's
Mm-hmm.
even trying to reassure her, he's like, I never really felt anything for her. I wrote down Severance is STEM education because it really is like, because I work in the IT world, there's so many people that are all about like data, 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 but they don't understand the context that has to come through the humanities and understanding
Mm-hmm.
people. This perfect
Mm-hmm.
example, my friend Kendra was talking to me about this. There was a guy who was doing this data project about outcomes in the Texas hospital system. And he picked, because he's like an idiot, he's like a nerd dude. He picks like 3 hospitals to focus on. And 2 of them were ones that like George Bush goes to, like the best care in the world. But him not
Right.
even like knowing, like these things and how that can actually impact data. And like, even when we try to put things in context now, this is going to be like some nerd, like vector databases or graph databases and things. Like, even when you try to put it in context, if you just try to do it on a data level without any kind of orchestration on the human level, we call
Mm-hmm.
it human in the loop, HITL. You have to have that human part of it that understands the connections. That's why when you
Mm-hmm.
run Gemini and ask it, like, when does water freeze and it fucks it up, it's
Mm-hmm.
because you are asking it of everything that's out there. And the model is not smart enough to know what's good, what's bad, what's old, what's out of date. Like, you have to really kind of curate it. And there's
Yeah.
that, like, that human part of it. And I feel like that's what Lumen is
Mm-hmm.
really missing, that you see in their interactions with each other. Like, you're not
Yeah.
just data. Like, I believe that Bob Balaban's character in real life, his Audi, is a weirdo. Those
Yeah, for
weirdos
sure.
exist. And then the girl Gretchen or Gwendolyn or whatever her name is, I love her
Mm-hmm.
freckles, so cute.
Mm-hmm.
But like, she's a mouthy, irritating person, probably in real life,
Yeah, and
And
look how she's dressed. Like her Audi chose that outfit. Yeah, totally. And like I think too, even just like Miss Cobell being like a handshake is available upon request. The corporate sanitization of your humanness, right? Where
mm-hmm.
you might want to go up to a coworker who's having a bad day and just be like, "Do you want a hug?" But like that's against the rules. And so you have
Yes.
to like couch it in corporate speak and HR like parameters in order to just comfort another human being just
Mm-hmm.
because you're coworkers and not, you can't relate necessarily on a human to human level because you have this like barrier between you all the time
Yeah.
of HR protocol. And that becomes in a severance world how everybody interacts nonstop, because that
Mm-hmm.
is the reality that the corporate world has created for you. So that's interesting. I think that's super interesting. Yeah, I
Also,
like
your
that. And
physical body, your Audi, like Mark comes in hungover. Like, I know how
mhm,
I feel hungover, like, what that kind of feels like. Does
yeah.
Dylan ever think, oh, could my Audi be doing some sit-ups or something?
Yeah. Or
Or
like
like
why
when
am
you
I
take it,
constipated?
what the shit I just took or whatever, of like, holy
Mhm.
crap, you take a pee and you're like, whoa, did I eat asparagus last night?
Or like their Audi knows that they're not gonna have the consequences of the hangover.
Yeah. You can
Mark
kind of,
can drink to excess and just he'll be awake for maybe an hour before it's gone, and he's gonna come
mm-hmm.
to without that hangover. Like
Right.
he's done. He didn't have to feel its effects because it was his innie that felt that. The same thing of like you eat
Mm-hmm.
something that in like, yeah, I ate that in the morning, but I know it's gonna make me cramp at 4 p.m. But then it's over, and you don't have to worry about it. Like that's so
Or
sadistic.
yeah, well, like this senator, his wife, she had
Right.
3 babies using the severance procedure.
Right.
You don't have to experience pregnancy. You don't have to experience childbirth. You
And that
you
I think
pawn that off.
she's using her severed persona too to take care of the baby, because she comes back
Mm-hmm.
from somewhere at that gala and says she couldn't find the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she means herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think she doesn't know.
She's her own nanny.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
drudgery.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing like what you're just talking about with the data, like AI models, for instance, and you know way more about this than I ever will, but they were talking about how philosophy majors and literature majors and people that are like steeped in an understanding of ethics and morality and why we say what we do, linguists, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
that those are the actual fields that people need to be going into, that they're
Mm-hmm.
going to be the ones that companies are hiring because they need ethics and
Yes.
philosophy and all of that to inform what AI is going to be able to do. They don't need
Mm-hmm.
any more like,
Data
coders
scientists.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Because data without context is just data. It's just stenography.
It's just putting random numbers in a bucket.
Yeah. Even like on a
Yeah.
human level, I could read like 4 different articles that say 4 different things about an idea. You need your opinion, you need your morality, you need your beliefs to kind of like inform you
Yeah.
on, what. But I mean, the AI people are just shooting themselves in the foot when, like, Google Workspace this week put Gemini in every product that they have. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. Now, if you're
Yes.
like working at a company, you can determine what you're running it off of. So, like, you might have like a repository, and you're like, it's only going to answer questions out of this, because
Mm-hmm.
then that actually helps you get more accurate and get trusted outcomes. But when
Mm-hmm.
you're just throwing it at everything, when you're trying to ask a question of the ocean, you're removing trust in your own product. Like,
Yeah.
this is, and then I feel like these AI guys don't understand like how they're shooting themselves in the foot by not
Mm-hmm.
rolling these things out in like more, it's not ready for massive human consumption in the sense of that people want to use it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just, and then again, for what? Like, yes, you're testing, you're getting more understanding about prompts and how people are asking questions. But getting back to water, how much water has your data center now gone through for me to ask
Mm-hmm.
what temperature does ice melt?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
get the wrong answer.
And I can't help but look at Severance and like thinking about the water of it and then thinking about like generative AI and the waste and the water and how that's the big thing that everybody's talking about. And like how if you are going to do that, and it's why Elon Musk is coming to fucking Memphis, Tennessee, right? Like we have huge, gorgeous, beautiful aquifers and a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of blight, and he can take a blight area of our city and have access to all of our water and our energy grid, which hardly ever goes down, and destroy it in an effort to like
Yeah.
fuel this data center that we didn't ask for. And like that's the thing. Like Lumen has all in my mind, like they have to colonize the next thing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
us. It's our cute brains and our
Yeah. We're
time
the
and
product,
attention. Mm-hmm.
and we're the potential slave class, because that's really what the NE is.
And the American. And the regular everyday American who's not going to get a good education to understand where they are in the process. They're just going to be obedient workers. They only know enough to like work the machine. All of those innies, they only require them to know enough to do their one thing, to
Mm-hmm.
work their one machine, and never know enough to free themselves. That's why they aren't allowed books and they aren't allowed anything beyond like, the compliance manual or whatever, because they
There's
don't
no
need
music
them.
except as a
Yeah,
treat.
right. They don't need them to know anything about their critical thinking capabilities. They only need them to be
Mm-hmm.
able to work this little machine. It's like this perfect little, you know, construct, a little diorama of what the American worker is like anyway. This is what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing. You're just doing this one thing that they want you to do, and they don't want you to think any deeper about why you're doing it and its effects on the world or even its effects on your own psyche.
And the order comes from like some kind of philosophy, religion. Like, they have all of their manuals. Here is the religion. Think here. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like in Silo, where, the order is,
The
the
pact.
the pact. It's all about, there's so many things in the pact that are dumb. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't use a pulley system. Like, why? Well,
Mm-hmm.
the pact says so.
Mm-hmm.
The founders had a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Here had
Mm-hmm.
a reason. So you add that mysticism on top of it, and you can keep everybody in line.
Yeah, because when somebody tells you that like your sacred book was probably written by flawed people who didn't understand what the future might hold and what you might understand about yourself 100 years from now, but you've elevated it to something better. Like they had a vision, and
Yes.
we're here because we have the shared values of making that vision a reality in our
Yes.
lives. It's
And who are you
all
to question it?
fundamentalism.
Yes.
Yeah, we all have to buy into this ideal. And then when we do, we don't question where it came from. It's funny because you can clearly Severance has like this Mormon kind of feel to it. Like clearly, like Keir feels very Joseph Smithy, like just even the dates that they
Visually.
gave, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Very much. But it's just fun. It's just fundiness. Like fundiness is not relegated to Mormons. That is in all cultures across the, that fundamentalism idea.
Yeah.
I always wonder how people that were never like really truly raised in any of that can like have good commentary on it, but they somehow do. I guess it's just because it's so pervasive.
Well, especially now in
Yeah.
the normalization of fundamentalism. Like you would punch Tom Cotton out.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be like, please run my life.
Mm-mm.
You would look at Tommy Tuberville and you'd be like, you're a fucking dipshit. But the people of Alabama or Mississippi or wherever the hell he's at, they're just like, yeah, I trust you.
You're a good old boy. Football and
Yeah.
beers. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As long as you're hating the right people.
Mm-hmm. It's time for our You Cannot Sit With Us of the day. And I want to kick off real quick and say, I feel like I already did this a few weeks ago, like saying you can't sit with this TikTok ban, and I still feel that way. I'm actually kind of sad. I'm going to probably be spending a huge amount of time today downloading some of my favorites of my videos, but I feel like you cannot sit with us 8 million new apps. I can't do it. I have tried everything. I downloaded Lemon 8, which is owned by TikTok, so it's probably going to go away too. There's one called Skylight that's coming up. There's one for books called the Tome app or something like that. There's probably like half a dozen or more things that are going to take its place. And I can't do it all, but I don't want to do meta apps. I really just don't want to do Instagram. So I feel like when you say like, tell people where you're going to be, I'm going to be on Blue Sky. Like, yes, I have an Instagram. I'm probably not deleting that app. I probably will use it, but like where I'm going to be shit posting and talking shit about people is on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
That's where my actual life will probably go in terms of social media. But I'm just so sad to lose the ease of use of TikTok, like the FYP. I don't care about monetization. I've never monetized any of our channels. We don't monetize our YouTube. We don't monetize our podcast. Like we don't have ads. I do feel bad for people that's their job and that's, they're losing a bunch of stuff. But like for me, it's not about whether or not I have 35,000 followers on a new app like we do on TikTok. Like it's just about community. And I just hate that there's so much fracturing of that community. Like you have to go to all of these different places to find people and we'll no longer be able to just see one another in one place. So
Can I ask a logistical question?
Yeah.
It still will be on your phone and you can still, they're not like severing the data ties to it.
Maybe not, but maybe they are. I think I've heard both. That it's just going to no longer be in the app store, but also that it will not be accessible.
Yeah. You're blocked. You're geo-blocked.
Yeah. You'll even typing it into your browser, you won't be able to pull it up.
Well, my kid is 16. She has about 30,000 followers. She's like a big fandom art person. And she has made some of the most adorable friends. She has these two twin sisters that live in Sydney, Australia, that they had just gotten up yesterday and it was late night and they were like playing Roblox together. But she met them on TikTok because they're both into something called mouthwashing, some game. And yeah, it's been a wonderful outlet for my kid. And it just makes me sad.
It's just so bonkers.
Well, the reasoning behind it is so incredibly dumb. I mean, in terms of being able to influence us, whether it's the Chinese government or whether it's the call is coming from inside the house, there are data products that have your social security number right now that are legal that people can sell. Everything about you is already out there. Meta, I mean, we all get it. Like Mark Zuckerberg, fuck you, like what you're doing. This is all about like American companies wanting to have like their number one market share. They want to be able to influence what we're saying. So when you see good Congress people that I used to respect, rolling over and acting like idiots.
Yeah.
And it can't just be, oh, trust us.
No, it's very transparent.
Yes.
Like because the same Congress people that I respected who are willing to vote for this are the same ones who have not been, for instance, vocal about the genocide happening in Palestine. So for me, that's the transparency part of it, is that there are what they call security issues in the United States that are really about American supremacy and fostering the white supremacy of America, but not calling it that. And that is what I think is transparent about the entire thing, is that you clearly know that our data has never been secure. I had my girl's pediatrician sent us a letter because their data got sold or stolen or whatever, and
Yeah.
they just wanted us to know that it was all there. I was like, okay, so everything about my children,
Yes.
all of their medical history, their socials, everything that's out there somewhere. And so, I mean, we know that our data is not safe. And I think what regular Americans and what probably regular Congress people think is, oh, I don't want people to have my email address. Like, I don't want to get spam email. I don't want my phone getting spam calls. Your phone number? Really? You're worried about whether or not somebody in China has your phone number? I get calls from people that are from Pakistan every day, and I just ignore them. Like, I've had the same phone number since 1996. It's out there. I've been on the internet for a very long ass time. It's just not possible that it's not out there. And whether or not they're keeping track of if I'm shopping at Wayfair or Madewell or whatever, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. But that's not what I still want to be able to create community and know things. And that's what they don't want. They do not want Gaza protests on college campuses. And they think that if they start pushing only meta content and only meta and X and Google content into people's lives, that stuff will stop. And I think it probably will. You go to Facebook right now and look at like just a generic feed, and it is mind-numbingly stupid. It's full of the dumbest AI that has ever existed. And it's just simply not compelling. You're not learning anything new. You're not being faced with ideas that you'd never thought of before. It is so mind-numbing and stupid. And that's what they want. They want us to just be cogs in a wheel that cannot think any farther than what they already want us to think, especially about things that involve global supremacy, like Gaza and Israel and other things like that.
Yeah. I mean, Facebook to me is just I deleted my Facebook. It's all old people. I just got tired of just seeing what other idiots in my community think. So it's been a wonderful, like, lifting off of stress off my shoulders, getting rid of it. Facebook new signups usage down. Young people are not using it. Yes, there's Instagram in terms of Zuckerberg. He thought that Threads was going to be like the new Twitter. Threads sucks. Someone describes it as like Twitter for next door. It's terrible. Threads to me is just like white women talking about like transcendental conversations they have with their barista at Starbucks. Like, it's just all so dumb. And then, X is, going the way of the dodo. I mean, look at what just happened in the sky with SpaceX and, things blowing up. America loves a moral panic. This is like stranger danger in a different form. This is like the Chinese. Absolutely. This was, Holly, trying to get the guy who's the Singaporean CEO to admit that he's Chinese. Like, it's embarrassing. This stupid, it burns. But then when there's no consequence for someone like Holly looking like a fucking dipshit, being embarrassed, mocked, what? It's kind of like, why bother?
Yeah. I mean,
what's the point?
The media is still treating him like his opinion matters. That's the other thing about like elected officials is the media go to them and be like, well, how do you feel about da 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 da? And like, well, what do you think is going to, and why are we not confronting them instead with, how does it feel to be so stupid that you didn't understand what TikTok actually was? Why is that not the question? Instead of, what do you think about the security issues that that's not the question. He doesn't know. Tell him that he's an idiot in your question.
Which is why we
just defer to them.
I would have loved, like, during the is it Hezgeth? Is that how you say his name?
I think so.
During don't even ask him questions when you're a Democratic senator. Look over at your Republican colleagues and be like, really, Joni Ernst? Why won't you meet with the victims who said that they will meet with you? Why you got a boner so big for this guy? Yeah. Like, you're comfortable with this? Okay, Mark Wayne Mullen or whatever your fucking stupid name is. We've all been drunk on boats. Name names. You're drunk on boats. Your wife has kept you out of prison. Tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because asking Pam Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard, Kristi Noem, asking them questions, it's like spitting in the wind. It's pointless. So turn it around on the other people and start mocking and shaming them. Kind of
Yeah.
like that wonderful headline from The Guardian. I knew that the rich, all of techno brats would take over. I just didn't realize they'd be such fucking losers.
Yeah.
Get
Which
back to
felt
the
just
you're
so
weird.
deeply soul gratifying to know that, like, yes, we recognize that Elon and Mark and Jeff and all of these guys are just deep losers, like
Losers.
complete losers, just goobers, like no riz, nothing interesting about them. They are the worst. And yet they need more than what they already have. Like,
Right.
unbelievable. And we're just letting it happen. The world is
Mm.
a quagmire of
Every
stupidity and
article
grossness.
that mentions Zuckerberg or Meta or Facebook should open with why Facebook started in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Zuckerberg was a dork who figured out a way to create a program to help him rate the hotness of his classmates. This is the guy you want to run the world? Every time that they mention Elon Musk, he did not invent Tesla. He invested in Tesla. He's an investor. He's never invented shit.
Right. Apartheid Nepo baby.
Apartheid Nepo baby. Emerald mines. Every article should mention how much money we just wasted by investing in SpaceX and they had the explosion in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Every article that talks about Jeff Bezos should say how much human growth hormone he's on. They should show how many LA points his girlfriend has right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You would not hang out with these people.
No, you wouldn't invite him to a dinner party.
You would look at them and say, shut the fuck up. You would have a whole entire text thread at the town meeting. Look at this loser.
Imagine that they don't have any status and they just come into your place of business and have a conversation. Do you think that conversation is going to be something you're talking about that night with your partner? Or are you in a positive way, like, oh, I met the most interesting person? Or are you going to be like, the biggest weirdo came in today and I had to show him around and we had talked about it and it was so awkward. He was terrible at just conversing. That's the conversation you're having. Like, these guys are not cool. They would never be people that you would be interested to meet.
His name is Mark Wayne Mullen. That Mark Wayne is one word.
Yes.
He doesn't wear a jacket. He thinks he's the new Jim Jordan, but yet he bought his shirt one size too small. So whenever time he sits back in his chair, you get kind of like the gaps.
These guys are the worst.
Embarrassing.
And like, it's so clearly transparent. You bought stock in Meta. You signed and voted against the TikTok, or you voted for the TikTok ban. And that week or a couple of weeks before, you bought a bunch of stock in Meta. You are not clever. This is not. And the thing is we have a law against this, but it's just self-enforceable. It's that stupid idea that, like, they have to disclose that they did it. And then the disclosure is the punishment. Like, the disclosing itself should be so damaging that no one would do it. And it's not damaging at all because we allow just what the fuck ever.
Well, yeah, nothing is damaging
so there's
anymore.
No consequence.
You can tell people you have a brain worm, and that's not disqualifying. You can be Tommy Tuberville, who you're like football. I think Auburn probably had a losing record his last time he was there, and he's just an idiot. You can Marjorie Taylor Greene talk about Jewish lasers, and she gets reelected.
I really thought that, like, there would be a trend towards liberalism, and I don't mean like liberal like liberals. I mean like the liberalism of the world. Like, we would be holding elected officials accountable because we became more conscious of how they manipulate us. Like, that was the trend in the 90s. And I guess maybe 9/11 like severed, to get back to what we talked about in the majority of this thing, our ability to see the truth for the trees. Like, we went through this like phase of like, they can do no wrong no matter what they're doing or something, and we just
the New York Times posted like an editorial like right after 9/11, irony is dead, and I was like, we're fucked.
There's just no real consequences for anything. I mean, Trump is going to be inaugurated tomorrow. He is a felon and an adjudicated rapist.
On that point, can we just stop saying adjudicated? Let's just say convicted.
Yeah.
In fact, someone tried to argue with me on Blue Sky this week because I even just said that point, because the Republicans say anything.
Sure.
And like, if someone says, well, he's really adjudicated, then okay, we can talk about that. But if you're trying to get mind share, he's a convicted rapist.
Yeah.
I don't care like in what way, civil court, whatever. And
Sure.
it's kind of like, this is when liberals drive me crazy, and I am one. This person was just like, well, we say adjudicated. And I was like, you're missing the fucking point.
Yeah.
Why do we as the Democrats always try to make sure that we are correct and we're doing the right thing? Just say the truth. And even if it's a little, who gives a fuck? Because if he is truly a threat to our democracy, then act like it. I'm sorry, Obama, but you pissed me off when I saw you yucking it up with him at the funeral. If he is truly, like, don't do that shit.
And I thought the Carters were not going to invite him to the. I thought that was the whole thing. Like the Carters said he wasn't going to be there. What the fuck was he there? Yeah. I cannot imagine 1998 Beth believing that a rapist that everybody knows is a rapist and a felon who everybody knows is a felon who sold security secrets to a foreign agent, a foreign adversary, would be the president. And we would all just be going about our business. And not only, like, at least in 2016, there was antagonism towards him and towards the incoming administration. And then once the administration was there, like, there's antagonism there. There were people holding up standards and protocols and saying this is not normal and we're not going to do this. That seems to have been completely blown out of the water. We're not even bothering to say, of course you can't have a Fox News host as the Secretary of Defense. Of course you cannot. No. That is ridiculous. But nobody is saying that. They're all going through like these little bitty ticky little things just to have like a cute little soundbite. And we're not like, again, seeing the forest for the trees. Who cares about the fucking tree? Look at this forest. It is bonkers. It's
Pam
bonkers.
Bondi's entire wealth is based off of her investments in Truth Social. Disqualifying.
Yeah.
The woman has a law degree from Stetson University. I'm sorry.
Am I going to be? University?
Yeah. I'm someplace in Florida. Like when Nikki Haley's running for president, I went to Clemson with her. No, I'm sorry. Clemson accounting graduate? No.
It's beyond surreal. It's cartoonish.
This is a great segue into my You Can't Sit With Us.
Which is?
Snoop Dogg. What the fuck, guy? Have you not heard?
No, I'm waiting.
He's performing at the inauguration.
What?
Oh,
Since when?
Yesterday. When I saw it, I was like, this is a joke. This surely cannot be true. And this is why I'm especially mad about it. I just wrote for the Cool Table about my favorite pop culture moments. And I even said that Snoop Dogg gave us that perfect visual of him being like that what the fuck face and how many ways we were going to be able to use it in the coming year. And I can't believe that I'm actually now having to use the Snoop Dogg face for like Snoop Dogg. Like you've ruined this wonderful memory moment from the Summer Olympics for me.
I am gobsmacked.
Someone pointed out this morning that he has a ton of money in, tech and crypto and all that crazy stuff.
Oh, my Lord.
But Keith Boykin said it best on CNN last night. He goes, any black person who performs at Trump's inauguration dishonors the black families Trump refused to rent to, the black kids Trump targeted in the Central Park case, the black president he lied about, Barack Obama, your birth certificate, the black election workers he targeted, Miss Ruby, and the black Haitian immigrants he lied about. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. It is such a slap in the face to black Americans for him to do this. We don't need you to be the one to come together. Again, if he is a threat to our democracy, if you, Snoop Dogg, were just telling me that he's an orange fascist 6 months ago, he's still an orange fascist. But you want to be up there with Carrie Underwood and
Lee Greenwood
and all that, like just embarrassing. And we all know that Trump is not going to he's moved everything indoors because he's really afraid and embarrassed. He's not going to have a crowd size and he doesn't want to have all that stuff again. It's not about the weather.
Again, and this 1998 is the Beth would be like me in 1998 would never think Snoop Dogg?
Like this is an admitted drug dealer. Donald Trump believes that drug dealers should be executed.
I just cannot. What is the world? And how do we even just like carve out normalcy with this kind of stuff? Like Carrie Underwood, when people were like shocked and mad, I was like, yeah, of course. Like she's Nashville.
Yes.
That does not surprise me. I know people, a lot of people were like, but she's got like a huge gay following. I was like, she probably has a huge gay Republican following. I don't listen to country music, but like Jesus Take the Wheel was a moment, but that was the only moment, right? Like, I mean, I'm sorry, I voted for Bo Bice. I was not a Carrie Underwood person. So that makes perfect sense to me. But Snoop, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Is the bag worth it?
Here's the thing, too. We need to understand, like, the Neil Gaiman of things, the Snoop Dogg of things. Like, we need to no longer have anybody that is beyond. There's nobody to hold up. Like, as much as I love Bernie, I love AOC, I love Elizabeth Warren, but didn't Elizabeth Warren vote for the TikTok ban? Like, I mean, you know, like, there's just, I'm pretty sure we just can't have anybody that we hold up
Yeah.
to any, you know,
As
elevated fashion.
Your political Jesus.
Right.
No one's going to come and save us.
No one is going to do the thing that they think that you think that they're going to do.
Yeah.
Unless it's Lestat.
Well, yeah, like after the election, I did feel for a while like a little bit abandoned by, you know, Kamala and
Sure.
Tim Walz, because again, you cannot tell me that we are tipping over into fascism and then just say, well, now I need to go to Hawaii to take a breather.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I'm sorry, if you choose to lead in this moment, you have to continue to lead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what, like again, Obama, like you could have chosen where you sat. You could have chosen how you react. You could have been a Karen Pence. You could have been like, I'm not talking to you.
Be your wife who says, no, I'm not coming.
Yeah. And then, you know, some people were trying to say, you know, well, that's how, and as a woman, I know what that's like. You sit next to a creep and you just kind of feel like, oh, I have to sit and take it and I play along. No, you're Barack Obama. You're just not some regular dude. You were the most powerful man in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We need to rely and trust in you, because again, like if those words are what you said they are, then they have to mean something, because then this is all about getting back to trust. If what you say is true, then I'm going to trust you. But then when you act a different way, you treat it like it's normal. It's no big deal, whatever. You're going to show up to the inauguration. You don't have to go. Act in this moment like the moment that it is. If it is a horrible moment for our country, if we're tipping over into fascism, act like it.
Yeah.
Don't do anything normal anymore. Joe Biden, when you invite him. Become a protest
candidate.
Yes.
But why are we not in the goddamn streets? Turn it over. Yes. Because they have too much at stake. Like, you can't just become a protest candidate when you have that much invested in the normalcy and the, you know, the regular day-to-day of America functioning as the corporation that it is. And they have too much at stake. America needs to retain its corporate value. And they are cogs in that machine. They are running the cogs. They're, you know, they're turning the wheel. And they can't become a protest candidate and go outside those doors. I mean, it's the shirtwaist factory. They're going to be locked out. They're the union, you know, bosses on the outside, and they can't be locked out of the corporation. They need it to continue to run. And Trump's policies, and even if it's horrible and horrific, even mass deportations happen on Tuesday, that doesn't necessarily affect their bottom line. And so they can't be protest candidates. They can't be requiring, you know, they can't be focusing on getting grassroots individuals like in smaller offices so that they can move up and so that we can have like real change or a real left-wing party. They don't want a real left-wing party. They need America to stay a corporation.
So yeah, when I'm not going to go outside and protest, because to what end? If I feel like leadership is going to be selling us out, then why bother? I'm exhausted.
Yeah, we just have, the difference is a corporation that is absolutely going to destroy minorities and the most vulnerable, homeless people, you know, those Haitian immigrants, all of that, all of these people, the vulnerable populations are absolutely going to be decimated, if not worse. But regular people are just going to continue to be the cogs that we are, the workers that they need us to be, but just without the veneer of polite American political society. The veneer's off. Like, you just can see the inner workings now, because
when the
Trump
Democrats didn't really embrace Luigi, that's when I was like, it's
fuck y'all. Yeah.
Fuck y'all.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm like going away and not being my typical self. Like, I'm focusing on, there's an issue in Rhode Island right now. Our Senate president is a 70-year-old crypt keeper looking Weekend at Bernie's man, Dominic Ruggiero, who's addicted to power, who is half dead.
Mm.
He is dealing with cancer. He's the Senate president, and he refuses to step down because old men love power.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just using all of my energy right now to kind of shame him and his chief of staff, John Fleming, who's holding him up. The Rhode Island Senate is only in session now 1 day a week because that keeps Ruggiero's absentee numbers down. He can like get himself up to get there 1 day a week. But it is such, again, these older Democrats that don't understand the horrible optics of propping up old people. You're not
Yeah.
creating a base of younger people who trust you. Our Democratic governor, Dan McKee, bumbling goober. We have a
Mm-hmm.
massive bridge out going into Providence, the Washington Street Bridge. If you live anywhere in New England, you've heard about it. And what has he done? Oh, he hasn't fired anybody. The head of the ride out, our Department of Transportation, he's still there. Good old boy, old
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats are doing everything that they can do to make sure that the younger people do not trust them and do not believe in the party.
Yeah.
And then what happens? You're not building any housing for young people to live in up here in
Mm-hmm.
New England, for example. So they're fleeing to places like Texas and Florida. Those are red states. We'll lose probably members of Congress. Where are those going to? Like it's so myopic. And
Yeah.
I'm just sick of especially old white men.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That's it. You can't sit with us. Like it's all going to
So
come
my
back
you
to the
can't sit
same
with us
thing.
is not old white man. It's Snoop Dogg, but yeah.
Well, all of you can sit with us Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Check our Blue Sky specifically for a link, and we will let you know where to find us. It'll be on Instagram too, but not on
I
TikTok because
can't
that'll be gone.
my kid's on Instagram and I kind of want to keep it to see what she's doing.
I can't get rid of it. I've been on Instagram for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Like 14 years, 15 years. It's going to be really hard to get rid of that, but we'll be there, but I feel like I don't want it to be the main place where I make connections to people. It's like Facebook was like 8 years ago and I was like, I still have it, but do I use it? No. That's how
Yeah.
Instagram's going to feel. I think it's there, but it's not what I want to use.
Exactly.
Anyway, we will see you guys Monday night. And hopefully
You're gonna have to edit this real fast to get up on.
I know, bitch.
If you want to tell people.
I know. And in the meantime, I have to like download all my TikToks before it goes away. It's going to take forever. I'm having a long day.
Download mine. It's just me talking about hydrangeas in the summer mostly.
I mean, I've got some that I really enjoy, series that I'd like to keep up,
Of course. You put time into TikTok.
Yeah, and I have 2 accounts. One's got like 17,000 people following it that I haven't even uploaded anything in a long time, a year at least. But it's got like a really like clear journey of my deconstruction, like why I did and where, and like a lot of the things that I care about. I'm like, I don't want to lose that. Like that's just history. It's the same thing like with my Twitter feed. Like in a lot of ways, my Twitter feed, because I started it in 2008, is like a baby book. Like when I started Twitter, I was potty training Emerson and she's 18. So like it's one of those things like I've downloaded all my tweets at different times because I just want to have them in case I'm like, oh, what was going on in 2010? Like, and I'll find it in my tweets. So
is there one TikTok in particular where you're like, this one has been really helpful to me? Like I learned something and I use it a lot.
There's recipes that I use a lot.
So mine's a recipe. It's an Italian lady teaching me how to make like fresh lemon pasta.
Mine is, and I think she's kind of controversial, but I don't really know why because I didn't pay attention, but Baked by Melissa. But she got kind of viral on TikTok for making salads, like micro chopped salads. I have a micro salad in my fridge all the time. Like I have a salad every day because of Baked by Melissa's nutritional yeast green goddess
I've
dressing.
learned some good stuff too about makeup, like as I get older, especially how to do your eye makeup. I'm not wearing any today, but things that now I'm like, oh, I would never have even known that I was aging myself by doing eyeliner more than like over, to this part of my eye.
So anyway, bye TikTok. It's been real. And now it's reels. All right. Night bye. Bye night. I edit it.
Bye dance.
Adios.